The past couple weeks, we've been talking about how God grows our faith and takes it from something counterfeit to something authentic. Think of it this way. If I were to ask you which kind of bill you would want, a real one or a fake one, a $100 bill, real cash, obviously you would pick the real one, right? Because it's more valuable. It means something. You can use it. When faith becomes real and personal to us, when it's not just a copy, it feels more valuable and more useful to us. What we're really looking at is how you, even as a teenager, can develop a faith that's all your own, not a faith that's just a copy of someone else's. Sometimes when you ask people what made their faith authentic or their own, they often point back to a time when they were invited to take part in some type of event or service. Whether it was a mission trip, a service project, or a volunteering opportunity, they frequently point to a time when they got involved in something bigger than just themselves. When it comes to getting involved in serving other people, there's often a battle in your heart and mind over the decision, right? Maybe you feel like God wants you to jump in and contribute somewhere. Maybe you have no idea what God wants, or maybe you're just struggling to make that commitment. I mean, after all, Sunday is your only day to sleep in, right? So volunteering in the church nursery is out of the question. You already have so much going on with sports, homework, family, friends, and other extracurricular stuff. Squeezing in one more thing seems impossible. You don't want to start something that you're not sure that you'll finish. Isn't it better to just not start at all? The important thing to keep in mind when we feel like this, when it comes to this kind of decision, is this isn't just about the needs of the people that you're helping. Because honestly, there's a good chance that they'll survive without you. The bigger issue is that you may be missing out on a part of something amazing that God is already doing. I know this may sound intense, but I think it's true. Your faith may never feel real until you experience what God can do through you. And you may never experience God working through you until you begin to serve somebody else. There's a great account recorded by some guy named Mark. He was a follower of Jesus, whose documentation of Jesus' life is actually included in the Bible. And this is one of the moments in Jesus' life where Mark wrote about. In case you missed it, Jesus has been traveling around doing miracles, healing people, driving out demons. You know, the kind of things that make it not hard to draw a crowd everywhere you go. Well, Jesus is in his hometown. He's speaking at this house, and naturally a crowd gathers. The crowd is so big that the people were spilling out of the house, and there just weren't any way to get up close and personal with Jesus. That is, until you clawed your way through the roof of the house, which is exactly what these four guys did. See, they knew this paralyzed man, and they heard that Jesus can heal. They carried this man on a mat and found out that they can't even get him close enough to Jesus, so they dug a hole in the roof and lowered him down. And imagine Jesus and the people in the front row. Dirt starts raining down in the middle of the talk and continues until there's a massive pile of debris on the floor and a massive hole above their heads. Sunlight coming through the roof, and then a man is being lowered down in front of you while you talk. Imagine the man, front and center, unable to move on his own, all eyes on him, being carefully lowered through a roof of a house, disrupting a large gathering. What happened next? Check this out. One question: whose faith did Jesus see? When Jesus saw their faith, he spoke to the paralyzed man. Because of the faith of your persistent friends who carried the paralyzed man, the man's sins were forgiven, and it doesn't stop there. Here we're introduced to some new people by getting a peek into their thoughts. These teachers of the law prided themselves on being the most religious. They definitely thought that they were closer to God than everybody else, knew more about God than everyone else, and essentially saw themselves as the gatekeepers of what could and couldn't be done in the name of God. And they really didn't like that Jesus just said the paralyzed man, still lying there in front of them, the entire crowd, that he was forgiven of his sins. See, Jesus had a very specific agenda in doing this miracle. Jesus was looking at an entire crowd of people, some grumbling religious leaders. It was about growing faith of everyone watching. He wanted to stretch their faith so that they would trust him. And don't miss that there was more than just one miracle in this story. First, Jesus forgives the man of his sins because of the faith of his friends. Second, Jesus reads the mind of the religious leaders, which led to the third, Jesus healing the paralyzed man. Like this, just picked up his mat and excused through this massive crowd. And all that happened because of some friends that decided to help him and have some faith and serve him. Like for real serve, not just counterfeit serve. They didn't just hear the paralyzed man mutter and leave him be. No, they dug a hole through this whole roof and lowered him down. They wouldn't take no for an answer. We don't know what the guys were experiencing in return, but imagine for a second what it felt like. Imagine knowing because of your faith, God did a miracle for someone else. I'm not kidding. I want you to imagine seeing Jesus do something amazing and knowing that you were a part of it. I don't know what these guys did afterward, but I imagine that it was a story that they told for the rest of their lives. I imagine that they sat with their children and their grandchildren and retold this story time and time again about their buddy that they took to Jesus and that he was healed. Around here, we often say, when you know who Jesus really is, it changes everything. That's exactly what happened for these guys. They saw who Jesus was and what he could do and imagined that it would change everything for them. I don't know how these guys felt about it, but I'm pretty sure that they never got over it. And I want you to know that the same thing is true for you. You will never get over what God does through you. The point is, nothing makes your faith feel real and quite like being a part of what God is doing in this world. And for some of you, maybe many, your next step of faith is to do just that. Maybe for you, that means to take action. When we feel that internal nudge, that sense that we could help, that we could put our excuses aside and act, sign up, show up somewhere consistently, check your excuses. We can all think of a million reasons not to serve. We can talk ourselves out of anything, but today I want you to take the next right step. When the men picked that paralyzed guy up off the ground, they were doing something big. They weren't taking no for an answer. Get out of your comfort zone. Be a part of moving beyond a counterfeit faith and be stretched and be challenged to do something that you normally wouldn't do. And those moments of fear that you feel can actually push you to trust God more. So here's the question. Where is God inviting you to be a part of a bigger story? The truth is, we all have plenty of excuses for not participating when there's an opportunity to serve. But there's more at stake here than just an opportunity to serve. The point is growing your faith. God wants you to do stuff, and he wants to do something inside of you. Serving is worth doing, even if you never change someone else's life or never know what change you've made in someone's life. We serve because it puts a part of God within us